this is Dr. Keith with another episode of the Quick Wellness News Nugget. And today we will be looking at a study, or an article rather, from naturalnews.com entitled Cherries Can Help Fight Heart Disease, Diabetes, and Other Inflammatory Diseases. And it's titled it's dated June 30th, 2022. If you haven't listened before, I take an article that comes out during the last 7 days. We'll do the Quick Wellness News Nugget. So let's look at this article. Again, it's dated June the 30th of Thursday, 2022. Excuse me. So this article talks about the benefit of cherries, and specifically how it can help fight heart disease, diabetes, and other inflammatory diseases. Now, because I try and keep these Quick Wellness News Nuggets pretty short, I will not go through the entire article, but this is where you can find it, naturalnews.com. I just give my quick analysis on it. It starts off by pointing out that cardiovascular disease is the leading cause of death for both men and women in the United States, claiming more than 610,000 lives a year. So 600,000 people a year die from cardiovascular disease in the United States alone. It goes on to point out how diabetes is another threat to public health, currently affecting 30.3 million Americans, according to the American Diabetes Association. It says that diabetes was listed as an underlying or contributing cause in over 330,000 deaths in 2015. And again, that does not even include those people who are pre-diabetic, as well as those who are insulin resistant, which is really the first step to diabetes. Really the first step is not unhealthy lifestyle, but that's the first clinical indication that there could be some issues. The article points out that there are superfoods like cherries that can help fight these diseases, and they cite one scientific review where they point out how researchers reported that the anti-inflammatory benefits of cherries can actually help prevent life-threatening conditions like heart disease and diabetes. Then they go on to break down the nutritional profile of cherries. And they talk about what cherries are. We don't have to explain that. Everyone on here should know what cherries are. They point out how 1 cup or 154 grams of sweet raw pitted cherries contain 97 calories, 2 grams of protein, 25 grams of carbs, and 3 grams of fiber. Also, they go on to point out how that same serving also contains vitamin C, about 18% of the daily value, 10% of the daily value of potassium, 5% of the daily value of copper, and 5% of the daily value of manganese. Now, the daily values are, in my opinion, are normally too low, as the daily values given by basically the government are generally too low. Most people are going to need more than the basic daily value, but that's another discussion for another day. The article goes on to point out as further that aside from these, cherries contain vitamins B and K, copper, magnesium, manganese, and polyphenols. According to research, cherries can help prevent heart disease, the article says, because they contain high levels of anthocyanins and carotenoids. It goes on to point out these natural plant pigments are responsible for the deep, vibrant color of cherries. They also have antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, anti-obesity, and anti-diabetic properties. The article also goes on to point out how cherries also contain quercetin, which is an antioxidant flavonoid present in other superfoods as well, like apples, grapes, and onions. And quercetin scavengers harmful free radicals to help protect healthy cells from oxidative damage. The article goes on to point out further how cherries can actually help reduce the production of inflammatory molecules. Now again, inflammation is a real problem in the human body. Systemic, prolonged, or chronic inflammation is going to ultimately lead to some disease or abnormality of some sort. So you want to keep the inflammation in the body down. It says cherries are commonly used in Ayurveda and traditional Chinese medicine to treat arthritis and gout. If you're a sufferer of gout, one of the best things is cherry juice or eating raw cherries. But you also have to look at the underlying cause, and normally That's from consuming flesh, the uric acid in the animal. So basically, the first thing to do is to eradicate flesh from your diet, and you should, for the most part, eradicate if you're suffering from gout, which is a form of arthritis. You should, by eliminating flesh, you should eliminate gout. The article points out how as early as 1950, researchers had discovered that consuming cherry can actually help reduce symptoms of arthritis and cause greater mobility in the joints. Researchers also revealed that anthocyanins in cherries suppress the production of inflammatory chemicals such as COX-1 or COX-1 and interleukin 18. The article goes on to point out further, in a 2013 USDA study published in the Journal of Nutrition, researchers found that cherry consumption lowers inflammatory markers and can help reduce the risk of arthritis. Now, again, as you see on the screen, they point out a 2018 review published in the journal Nutrients, where researchers analyzed 29 studies that tested both sweet and tart varieties of cherries in a variety of formulations such as fresh cherries, powdered cherries, cherry concentrates, and cherry juice. They found that consuming cherries helped reduce known markers of oxidative stress and inflammation. They also found that cherries help relieve exercise-induced muscle soreness. They help improve arthritis, again, as mentioned earlier, and they also promote healthful or restful sleep. Now, to get to the part of the article which goes along with the title, cherries protect against cardiovascular disease. It says cardiovascular diseases is often caused by consuming too many toxic fats and processed, which most of you who are listening probably know this already. It goes on to say further that the presence of too many environmental toxins in the body, nutritional deficiencies, a lack of antioxidants, and not enough exercise. So these are some of the things that can lead to cardiovascular disease. The article then goes on to point out how several clinical studies show that cherry-enriched diets help lower levels of triglycerides, blood sugar, and insulin, while at the same time they help increase HDL cholesterol levels, which is the good cholesterol. But we may understand it's the good cholesterol. And then the cholesterol debate, that's an entirely different debate there, where we may talk about that some other time. It goes on to say that researchers have found that a high antioxidant defense system lowers the risk of cardiovascular disease. So if you have high amounts of antioxidants in the body, it says that helps protect your cardiovascular system. Studies also show that drinking cherry juice helps reduce blood pressure. Cherry consumption has also been found to reduce C-reactive protein, which is an inflammatory marker, often linked to a greater risk of cardiovascular disease. Then the article goes on to tell us that in a 2006 study from USDA's Human Nutrition Research Center at the University of California, Davis, volunteers who consumed at least 45 fresh pitted cherries every day for 4 weeks had a 24% reduction in C-reactive protein, a change linked to a lower risk of cardiovascular disease. And as you can see on the screen, I'm not going to go through the entire article, I just wanted to call your attention to this article. Again, as you can see, the next section talks about how cherries help prevent complications from diabetes, how they promote restful sleep, and you can go there and read it again. You can find this article at naturalnews.com, and it is again was published on June the 30th, 2022. Again, this has been a quick Wellness News Nugget with Dr. Keith Henry. Again, join me next time for the next quick Wellness News Nugget. Be blessed.